Good afternoon.
Okay, how's that? That good? Hey, Kim, if you can hear me, can you shake your head? All right, gang, looks like we got folks coming on. We've got our speakers here. That's good. We'll give it a few more minutes to see who else is able to join us. So everybody just hold tight, please. Veronica, thanks for joining us today. I know it's taken us a few weeks to get you on the calendar, but we're glad that you're here.
Well, we're glad to be here. I have a couple of my colleagues joining me as well. So
Okay.
Thank you for inviting us.
You bet. So we'll get started here in just another minute or two. We typically have done these each Monday at noon, although we've not done them over the last 3 or 4 weeks. We had done a sort of live virtual event a couple of weeks ago, sort of like a conference, online conference. And then we've got a lot of programs that are just getting back up and running. So we wanted to take a little bit of a break for folks, but we're going to get back into it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. It's right at noon or just thereafter. I appreciate everybody joining us. Like I said, I know that we have been in the habit of hosting these meetings every Monday at noon, but we've taken a break for the last several weeks, but now we're getting back into it. So wanted to welcome everyone. I hope that fall, now that it is fall, is going well. A few updates from us on the KHSA end. We had excellent attendance at the live virtual event a couple of weeks ago. I think we had, at last count, 445 individual participants attending one or more of our 15 different sessions. I know Jessica is in the process of making sure that certificates are going out to all attendees, and she can give us a really quick update, if you could, on what's happened with the EILA and the ECE TRIS credit.
Yeah, so all of the ECE TRIS credit has been entered. I did have a couple of people that, signed in on the Zoom on a personal email. So if you have any staff members questioning like why they didn't get credit for one of those, just ask them to check their personal email, because I've reached out to a couple of people with no response. And ELA certificates are going out today. I'll hopefully be done with those on Wednesday. So it's going good.
Perfect. Yeah. So if you've got folks on your team who attended sessions and they're looking for that credit and can't seem to find it, please just let us know. We're happy to work with them and make sure that they get the credit that they've earned. As far as those sessions, we did record all of them, and we're in the process of getting those uploaded, edited, and put onto YouTube. These really are going to be the basis for one of the next things we're going to be doing, which is launching an online learning portal, which is going to have modules and other pieces like this. We're actually doing some other work later this week. Those of you who were with us during our opening session with Jay McCord talking about the multi-generational workplace, we're actually going to do 4 more sessions with him that we're going to be recording and then making available to folks on a variety of subjects that I think will be useful to you in the Head Start workplace. So we've got credit, we've got all of that happening. We do have our special governance and bylaws working group that will have their 3rd meeting tomorrow. These folks have been taking a look at our new strategic plan and then figuring out how they can best operationalize that within our bylaws. They're doing really great work. So we've got another meeting tomorrow. They will continue their efforts through the rest of this calendar year with a goal of getting new bylaws to the board of directors for consideration and adoption, either at the end of this year or at the beginning of the next calendar year. We do have a new Head Start collaboration director in the Governor's Office of Early Childhood. Amanda Flaherty is her name. I have a call that I'm going to be doing with her tomorrow to get to know her. I know that Amy Neal at GOEC has sent out some information, but if you have not received anything, let me know, and we'll make sure that we get all the pertinent information out to all the grantees about our new Head Start Collab director. Let's see. Folks that had won door prizes during the live virtual event a couple of weeks back, we're in the process of working with Lakeshore to get those out to you. So I sent an email out to everyone again today, reminding them to send me their shipping addresses. So if you've got any folks on your team that did indeed win a door prize for their classrooms, please let us know and we'll make sure that we get those to the right place. Beyond that, those are some of the things we're doing right now. So I am going to turn it over to Veronica and the folks that she is with. Just before she left, Sally Shepard had put us in connection with Veronica and her folks to talk about a new federal foster and adoption initiative that the state is working on, and that there may be some opportunities for Head Start programs to not only be up to speed on this, but also assist with reaching out into the community and talking with other folks about it. So Veronica, I'm going to turn it over to you and we'll just see where it goes. If you want to take questions as they come or hold them for the end, just let folks know.
Okay, sure. So hello, everyone. My name is Veronica Sears, and I'm the Adoption Branch Manager at Central Office with the Division of Protection and Permanency, which is located within the Department for Community-Based Services. 2 of my colleagues are joining today, and I'll let these ladies introduce themselves. And then we had worked together to develop a PowerPoint. If we can share that with you guys, I think that'll help kind of explain the initiative, the ask, and just a little bit more about DCBS and how we're structured.
Good morning. I'm Kelly Root, and I am the out-of-home care branch manager in Central Office. So I am Veronica's counterpart on the foster care side. So she's more of the adoption side, and I'm more of the foster care and children that are in out-of-home care. Renee?
And I'm Renee Harden. I am the diligent recruitment specialist. So I help all of the regions, and we'll kind of talk about how we're broken up into regions, but throughout the state work on recruiting foster and adoptive parents and getting the word out about what the need is here in Kentucky. And I'm actually going to share if I could share my screen, and then Kelly will, thank you, do the talking.
Yep, I made each of you a co-host, so you should be able to share.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right, do you all see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, now I got to figure out how to mute myself.
And while she's doing that, we're going to start out with a little video. We have a couple videos that we utilize just for really kind of getting people to think about foster care and adoption in a different way. So we want to share that with you all.
And I actually might have to go back real quick so I can share my sound.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years and I got my third child who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
So this is just some of our publicity materials that we have worked with some of our federal partners, really to increase the awareness of our challenges with supporting teens and other children in care. So the feds developed a all-in challenge, right? So nationwide, there's approximately 125,000 children in foster care who have a plan for adoption that need forever families. So nationwide, that's a lot of kids that need permanency. So the Administration for Children and Families, started this initiative, this all-in initiative, to really partner with states, nonprofits, business partners, faith communities, and specifically our Head Start programs, to really find ways that we can work together to support children that are in care, and then to also support locating and finding more permanency for our kids. So that was the specific ask for our time with you all today, is that states across the country are partnering with their Head Starts to find ways to really merge this work and work together to overcome some barriers that we have as far as identifying homes for kids and serving our kids. Next slide. And this is really just a visual that we've developed to really kind of talk about what the all-in challenge is. And that, 20,000 youth age out of foster care every year in the country. And that means that they don't have a permanent home, maybe not even permanent connections. They don't have anywhere to go for Thanksgiving. They don't have anybody to call if they have a flat tire or they need advice, or, everything that we, probably in our lives, we had people to go to just help us. But 20,000 youth that don't have that. So that's really, this is just a visual to kind of talk about what this challenge is. Next slide. So specifically, some Kentucky numbers. Right now, we have over 9,000 children in foster care in Kentucky. 3,000 kids in care right now have a goal of adoption. And so parental rights have been terminated for about 1,500 of those kids. Now the positive is many of those children that have had termination of parental rights or have a goal of adoption will be eventually adopted by their current foster parents. However, we do have right now 635 children in the state that are legally free for adoption. They're ready to be adopted, but we have not been able to identify an adoptive home for those children. So just the Kentucky specific needs. Next slide. So what are our needs overall when it comes to foster care? Because people are always like, what kind of foster families do you need, right? And we always say we need all types of foster families, but we really want to look at what our data says and look at the populations of kids that we have in care that we either struggle to find homes for or struggle to find adoptive homes. And that first video that we watched really highlighted on this first area, which is homes for older youth. 43% of children in care over the age of 12. So really needing families that will open their homes to take in an older child. And a lot of times people are really scared off by that, right? That's why a lot of our materials are gauged to really just highlighting the positive things that happen for families that take older kids. Homes for siblings is a big one, and this may be something that you all even see in your local Head Starts, that 5,000 children in foster care are part of a sibling group. And over 1,500 of these kids are not placed together with their siblings. So we really have a hard time placing children together, sibling groups of 2, 3, and then, in some of your communities, we have some of the larger sibling groups, 7, 8 kids, right? But over the years, the world has kind of changed where families are built for a family of 4. So 2 parents, 2 kids, right? And so when you get more than that, a lot of times people are like, I don't think I can handle that many kids, or I'm not sure that I can do, or what resources can I have to help me? So that's something that we really need, because those sibling connections are so important for our kids and making sure that we can maintain them together. Minority foster homes. We have over 2,000 African American and Hispanic foster children in Kentucky, and only less than 800 of our foster parents are a minority family. So really making those important connections for kids where they can feel that they are, maintaining a part of their culture, right? And then medically complex foster homes. So we have children that have a variety of medical needs that make their care a little bit more complex. And we need parents that will be able to become certified to take kids that have medical complexities. Now, these folks do not have to be nurses or doctors or have any medical background. We do specialized training for them where they can feel supported and equipped to care for a kid that has significant medical needs. Next slide. So a little bit about our organizational structure. As Veronica said, she is the adoptions branch manager. And so under her is the Kentucky Adoption Profile Exchange, which we call the CAPE program. And that's really a place that folks can go and see children that are available now for adoption. The kids have different profiles there, and people can inquire and ask information about that, how they would maybe become a home child. The adoption branch really focuses on permanency and how we move children to permanency quicker, especially if their goal is and making those adoptions happen in a timely manner. That's really the one of the main focuses of the adoptions branch. And then they do relative and independent adoptions. A lot of times relatives are adopting their kin, or also independent where they may not be that relationship, but they're still doing adoption. The adoption branch takes care of that. So my branch was the out-of-home care branch. We have the foster care program for the state, right? So both our private agencies that you guys may work with and our DCBS foster care, along with our relative and fictive kin program, which is new to the state as far as how we support relatives and how we allow them to become foster parents. So in 2019, we really shifted our practice. Prior to 2019, it was very unusual for a relative to become a foster parent for a child that they're caring for. However, made some regulation change in 2019 to develop the relative service array. And this really gives caregivers, either relative or fictive kin, the opportunity to make a decision about how they would like to proceed. Would they like to become a foster parent? Or would they, want to take traditional custody of a child and have the case work that way? So you may see we've had a great success as far as relatives becoming foster parents across the state. So you may see even in your schools a really large increase in foster parents that are actually related to the kids that they're caring for. Launching a program this year, which is called the Kentucky Kins Program. And that's part of some federal Kinship Navigator funding to really support relative caregivers. Because what we hear from our relative caregivers is they really feel like they don't have the support network that they need to be successful in caring for kiddos. This program is going to start in the Salt River Trail and Cumberland service regions, which the next slide is really going to show you where your region is. So you can see Salt River Trail is kind of the area that's around Jefferson. And, it goes all directions, right? And then Cumberland is in our southern area line. So we'll be initiating programs there. So if you have a Head Start facility in these areas, we're definitely going to be looking for you all to partner with us to identify these families that may need this extra support because we want these families to be successful. And if you're not in one of those areas, we're always expanding our Relationship Navigator funding. So we hope that very soon we'll have this program throughout the state. Next slide, please. So just a couple of our other initiatives is the Kentucky Kids Belong. Their website is here, and it's americaskidsbelong.org/KY. And it really gives an opportunity to have kids, they come, they get to have a fun day. They get to have a filming where they can talk about what they would like in an adoptive family, right? Talk about themselves, talk a little bit about their story, because what we know is people connect to seeing those kids talk about their experiences and really talking about what they would like in a family. So we share those throughout our DCBS pages, and oftentimes it takes off. So I'll see them shared on social media for people that aren't even, they don't even work for our agency, but they've seen it shared. So it's always a good way to get the word out in our communities about kids right here in Kentucky that need an adoptive home. Next slide. So we often get, how do we support our families, right? So how do we support our foster families and our adoptive families? And this is just a list of some of the services, the daily rates, medical care, child care assistance for working families, training, counseling, respite, if the case moves to adoption, an adoption subsidy to care for that child until they're 18. So to help with those adoption costs, we help support that. Mentoring and just other support services. So we have a lot of robust services for families that want to foster or adopt. So what can you do, right? And so why are we here today? What are some of the things that we can partner together? We need help just really sharing informational materials, sharing those Kentucky Kids Belong videos, either on social media, email, newsletters, sharing our brochure. We've had some regions be able to really connect with local schools to, if there's you have like a fair or something where someone can come and set up or talk to your families about what the needs are. We have staff and foster parents that are willing to come out and work with you on your individual centers to see how we could maybe work to get the word out, or maybe even support current families that you may have in your school. Let's see here. Yeah, next slide. These are just some of the media flyers and forms that we have, and some of the different ways that we use media in different social networks. I'm going to show you one last video, and then we're going to kind of get to the crux of the challenge. So this was always a tearjerker, I think.
Ethan, let's go see your room.
So we'll be sharing a lot of these videos, especially for Adoption Month, which is coming up in November. And we would love your help in doing that. And really, when we are looking at the All-In Challenge and some of the calls that I know that Veronica's participated in with ACF and even the federal Head Start agencies, they really talked about how we can work together. So we are really asking for just 5 local Head Starts to volunteer and partner with us for this All-In Challenge. And hopefully we'll have more than 5 that want to participate, but just that we can kind of brainstorm and think about ways that we can support any caregivers that you may have in your school, and how you guys can help us kind of spread the word of the needs in our communities. So if you are interested in being one of the 5 that we kind of start and partner with, you can email Renee, and her information is on this PowerPoint, and we can I know it's, there may be more folks that would need to see this on those other than those that are on the call today, but we would love to be able to partner and work with you all in supporting your communities and your populations of kids. You know, we can work with you to really talk about the needs in your specific community. You know, if you are in, say, the Lakes region and you want to know what needs look like for your community, we can work with you on that to, you know, develop a plan and connect you with local staff. So that is a little bit about the challenge and what our needs are. And definitely if anybody has any questions that's on the call, we're happy to answer that.
Hey, Kelly, I've got a question.
Sure.
So the goal, at least at the beginning, is to identify and to work with 5 Head Start programs. Sorry, let me turn this on here. So are there any particular areas of the state that are more underserved than others? Are there particular profiles or characteristics of a Head Start program that you're looking for to be sort of in that first 5?
Actually really interesting. It's and as you guys probably experience as well, the needs from region to region and even county to county look really differently. So I think, you know, Renee, you may have a thought over where our most need is. I would say probably in the Two Rivers service region, possibly, or Salt River Trail. If you look at that map, you can kind of see where the need is. We have need everywhere in every county. But what's interesting is the focus is completely different, right? So in, you know, in Eastern Mountain region, which is our far east of the state, you know, they may do a better job with placing siblings together because historically you have families that are larger, right? And can care for larger sibling groups. But then maybe in our Southern Bluegrass area, you have homes that maybe only accept 1 or 2 kids. So it really is, I think we would really be able to work with those 5 that would be willing to work with us to talk about what their specific needs are individually. So I think it would, we always say the need is everywhere. But I don't know if Renee, you have another thought on a region that would be.
There are a lot of regions that have needs, and I think some of it is because they have a huge need in certain counties. Like, so Northeastern, I know Boyd County has a huge need. They're Boyd County kind of brings their numbers up. It's probably 1/3 of their numbers there of what they need. So that's definitely a huge one. The bigger counties where you can kind of expect that we've got more kids. So we've also got more kids in care. So we've got some of those in Jefferson, Northern Bluegrass and Southern Bluegrass. And then Two Rivers, you've got, you know, Davis County and Warren County that are some big ones.
So with those 5, then let's say hypothetically that we have 5 and they're fairly diverse and they come from different parts of the state. What would you be expecting from them in terms of time commitment? Because it sounded like maybe there was an opportunity for these first 5 to really sort of be a bit of an experiment and a bit of, we're going to help chart the path and see where this goes, and then maybe it can be replicated by others. What are your expectations around that?
Yeah, so I think that we, you know, I think we would kind of pattern it over what we've done with other schools in the past. Now, I do know that COVID is kind of throwing a wrench in that, because we know that a lot of times schools have, you know, your open houses or benefit fairs or just little community events that go on that we would like our staff to be able to come and participate in and even share with families or do a training for families. I think a lot of it that we could support would be supporting with our staff and finding ways that we can plug in some of the things that we can offer into your programming. Other ways that we've been successful is, you know, if you guys know, hey, we're doing out a big newsletter. Do you have anything that could go in the newsletter this month that we could share? So I mean, it's really what we found when we worked with a lot of schools in the past. There hasn't been a ton of time commitment. It's really just communicating about what events are happening and where, you know, we maybe could work together. And it may be something that, you know, that you wouldn't even think that DCBS could come in and come alongside and do, but maybe we could, right? So really just kind of thinking outside the box of what things are currently happening in your centers, and just being able to communicate and brainstorm those ideas. So I don't see it as a large time commitment. Veronica and Renee, I don't know if you disagree. I think it's just how we can kind of spread our message and really almost, especially maybe for some of your families, is kind of shift the narrative about what DCBS is, right? Because sometimes we're involved with families in a negative way, but how can we be supports to families?
I agree at the time commitment. I think a lot of it is just remembering to communicate and reach out. And if you've got newsletters or a meeting with a different community partner. So I think one of the big reasons why they asked for us to partner with First Steps or Head Start is because you all are connected to so many different groups, and that might not necessarily just be the families you serve, but the partners that come alongside you and serve those families as well. So just getting us in and sharing our information and sharing the need with those partners is a big ask as well. And I think it's something that if you can just remember to do it, it's not a huge time commitment. I can come up with personalized flyers. I can send videos. I can kind of do that, the legwork on it. And then you just tell me what you need and I'll send it.
And I agree with everything that both of those ladies said. And then especially with this being kind of a new initiative, there is that focus on kind of the launch through social media and sharing the message through social media, which, you know, is not a very big time commitment either.
Last question from me. So we've got a copy of the PowerPoint, I know we can get a copy of the PowerPoint, and we also have recorded this session. Is there like a program kit or a media kit or some, you know, quick hits, 2 or 3 pieces of paper that would really communicate all of this with our Head Start grantees?
Yeah, and I think what we were going to do is Renee was going to work on getting some of our attachments together, our brochure.
Gotcha.
Our flyer,
Perfect.
some of our flyers that we can send you all to do that. I do not think, and Veronica may know better because she's been the lead on the calls with ACF. I'm not sure if they've developed a lot of resources. I know we've taken some of them and kind of put our own Kentucky spin on them. So we share all of that with you all.
The All In Challenge and November is National Foster Care Month, and they both do have media kits that are available online, and I will send those when I send all of our stuff too.
Perfect. That'll work out well. Okay, I didn't mean to monopolize the questions, so we'll turn it over to
Those are all good questions for sure.
Head Start directors and grantees that are with us to see if they have any specific questions or comments.
And I'll just make one comment before we leave. I know, I think some people, I want to say when we are looking for foster families, we're not looking for perfect people, right? So some of our best families are folks that have experienced challenges and overcome. And I know you guys work with a lot of diverse families that have a lot of strengths and really could, you know, you may not think in your mind, oh, they'd be a perfect foster family. But a lot of times our families that have really come from a lot of diversity and overcome a lot of challenges make our best families. So it's, you know, our first call we had, they were like, we're not quite sure what you guys are wanting. And I think it's just important to think about just thinking out of the box when we're thinking about families that make wonderful forever homes for kids. So it's just a thought I had.
Very good. Any thoughts or questions from the other folks that are on the call?
Single parents, yes, single parents can absolutely be a foster family. You can be single, you can be married, you can be divorced. You can be in a dating relationship, depending on what that looks like, right? And both folks, if you live in the same house, both folks will have to be approved. Age 21 and older to foster. It could be 18 if you're a related person. But age 21 and older, we have lots of single foster families and that do a wonderful job, and some that care for lots of kids too. So yes, we'd be happy to. I think our flyer has a lot of information about the qualifications to foster, but yes, absolutely single. Good question.
Okay.
Okay.
Not seeing any other questions, but I know that we've got your contact information and that you're going to be sending us more, and we can share with all of the grantees in the state, not just the ones that are on the call with us today. So Kelly and Renee and Veronica, thank you so very much for taking the time to join us.
Well, thank you for allowing us to come, and we'd be happy to come back and speak with you all at any time. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks. Okay, gang. So I know that we are in the middle of a lot of programs are already back to school and have been for some time. We have some others that are just getting back up to speed. So we wanted to take this opportunity just to see if there are any particular updates, any strategies, any challenges that folks wanted to share with one another. I know that has been one of our, the big advantage of having some of these calls. So I just want to open that up. And if there aren't any, that's okay. But I do want to open it up and see if anybody is in the sharing mood or is needing some assistance or suggestions or ideas. Feel free. Everyone must be bashful or very busy. I'm thinking it's the latter. Okay, guys, well, if there's not anything else, we will go ahead and adjourn for today, and I will make this available via our YouTube account, and we will also send out the information that we receive from the folks we just heard from. With that, I'll be scheduling more of these for us in the future so we can get back on a regular rotation. If you have any thoughts about people you would like to hear from or you would like to see as guests during any of these sessions, or if you have particular topics, please let us know. Justin, is there anything you wanted to share? I know you've typed in, you're doing virtual, Pam is doing virtual. Any questions, thoughts, suggestions around that? Okay. Well, everyone, thank you so much for taking the time. I hope that that was some useful information, and we're going to be getting more info out to you on it. So with that, hope everybody has a great week, and we will talk to you again soon.